Ryu is so much stronger than people give him credit for. Like, people think he's like, oh, he's just a ninja. Like, nah, this dude is a living concept. And you'll see exactly how as this video goes on. So in order to understand everything that goes on and why Ryu is so powerful, we're gonna have to go to Ninja Gaiden Black or Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. That's where we get introduced to this book known as the Vigor Mythology. I'm just going to highlight all the parts that are very important. The book of Genesis. In the beginning, a great inconsistency flowed out into the nothing. A nothing that was afraid of its own nothingness. A pure terror without color, without sound, without smell. It formed the root of all deification. And eventually it coalesced into the shape of the first deity, Gerdu. There's two things to take from this first paragraph. Firstly is that Gerdu is the representation or the root of all deification. The deification being the act of or being a god. In other words, all forms of gods root from or originate from Gerdu. And mind you, the gods in this verse are concepts themselves. You'll see as we go on. And paragraph kind of reinforces that notion that Gerdu is the one that creates the concepts, because he is also the one that gave birth to all the elements, providing them with order and function. But while all this was going on, in some different juncture of space, instinctual fear was growing. And eventually chaos began to take shape and consciousness formed within it. Just based off that second paragraph, we can see that Ninja Gaiden's mythology is based off the creation cycle we see above. So in order to fully establish the whole predating concepts things, let's move on to the next page, the Book of Evil Deities. The ancestor of all archfiends, Vigor, began to devour the territory of Gerdu, beginning at its center. During endless solar and lunar eclipses, the earth shook and split. The seas dried up, only to flood into existence again. An intense wind swept over everything, and fires burned down all existence, ignoring even the concept of time itself. Eventually, Gerdu lost its strength, and the world once again plunged into chaos from which it had came. So yet again, two more concepts. Time and space are noted to be created or byproducts of Gerdu, and Vigor is actively bypassing or destroying them. With all the concepts being destroyed, all of it being taken away, everything goes back to that primordial nothingness we started with at the Book of Genesis. Moving on to the second paragraph, it's noted that Gerdu had to split themselves up into four different concepts: sentiment, wisdom, immortality, and creation. Again, showing you that Gerdu and Vigor predate these concepts. Going back to the notion of that Gerdu is the root of all deification, and going back to the notion of Gerdu creating all the elements. Go back to that cycle, just like the mythology is breaking down to us. Creation and destruction are byproducts of the elements, and with it all being taken away, the predecessors of them both, Vigor and Gerdu, would show that they predate such concepts. Eventually, the deity of creation sprinkled a little essence into chaos and sprung 13 dragons, which ended up defeating Vigor. Unfortunately, one of those dragons ended up being corrupted and practically becomes Vigor 2.0 and plunges everything back into darkness and chaos. How does this all tie into Ryu, where he is the personification or the outcome of everything Gerdu tried to create? He is, or specifically the blade is, creation itself. This is explained in Dragon Sword. The blade contains the essence of the same 13 dragons that originally took down Vigor. Each one of their spirits still remain within that blade. In other words, like I noted earlier, this blade is creation itself. That explains why he's able to beat the Dark Dragon. That explains why he's able to defeat the primordial evil deity Vigor himself. He is the byproduct of everything Gerdu wanted to make, like I noted. This gets reinforced by the notion that Ryu's family's bloodline all come from the same ancient deities from back in the day, from creation itself being sprung forth. The symbolism of this battle is literally creation, order, law, light versus destruction, chaos, darkness, nothingness. And just for another notion of just like how powerful these higher echelon entities are, lower level archfiends are casually destroying the fabric of space-time itself. I want you to keep in mind, with Vigor and Gerdu predating the concept of space and time, that means they exist in every moment in the exact same time. Think of it akin to Solaris from Sonic. This is verbatim stated in the History of Vigor books. Your Emperor has absolute authority. He controls all, physical and ethereal, regardless of time or place. This man Ryu is slamming your favorite characters. It doesn't matter if it's Kratos, Asura, etc., etc. He's beating them all. Another way to find the correlation in his connections is through Ninpo too. Each and every one of them is elemental based. Not exactly one-to-one to the chart, but uniquely into the verse, they are the elements that Gerdu ended up creating. You see, not only is his blood connected to those ancient spirits, his Ninpo is as well, because it symbolizes the original elements that Gerdu created, coalescing Ryu into being the culmination of everything Gerdu created, like I keep trying to push. All in all, you get it. This man is literally the living concept of creation itself. That explains why he's able to defeat other living concepts in their own right. Give Ryu Hayabusa his respect, because he deserves it for real.